Let's talk about The Biggest Loser. There's a Netflix documentary on The Biggest Loser, a series I have to admit I never watched. I never did watch. Here's some of the trailer for the Netflix show. I think it's SOT6.
Whoever loses the most weight wins $250,000. More than 10 million people watched the finale. It was huge.
To see us in a gym yelling, screaming, that's good TV.
This is what America thinks is healthy and safe.
Being seen as a person and not just a body is much rarer for fat people.
Well, we're big.
Biggest Loser was the best thing that ever happened to us.
It was.
We were not looking for people who were overweight and happy.
I'm a secret eater.
We were looking for people who were overweight and unhappy.
Maybe it would fix my marriage. Maybe it would fix me.
I'll do anything to be on your show. The Biggest Loser!
They were really reinforcing the stereotypes.
People like making fun of fat people.
And producers loved that. They were like, we want them to puke. We want the madness of it all.
Okay, so your thoughts on this documentary and what comes out in it, which is, it's got the participation of an executive producer, of the star, a couple of the stars there, not Jillian Michaels. And they're pretty open about what went on the set. Your thoughts on it, though?
This is personal for me, and we're going to address it on the mini on Saturday of the Nerve. I wrote the first big expose of what really went on The Biggest Loser. And trust me when I tell you that expose caused so much alarm over at NBC, they wound up canceling the show.
Wow.
And this documentary, even the score of it is sort of like jaunty and like this is a piece of entertainment. People's lives were placed in serious, serious danger with the stuff they were pulling. This wasn't just like, we're doing some pranks, like Fear Factor style. This was like people went to the hospital. And we're going to talk about even what goes on when you're selected as what they called themselves losers, which the production always tried to spin as like, that's a positive thing. But I always found it really poignant because they were making fun of these people from the beginning. And they would get flown to LA and they would be put in these hotel rooms and their phones would be taken from them and they would be isolated for days. And, you know, there was at least one contestant who told me they got a message that a very close relative was very, very sick in the hospital. It was touch and go and they wanted to go home. And producer said, feel free to leave, but there's like 10 people behind you who are going to take your slot. It was beyond, I think, evil. And to watch these producers use this doc to try to spin it as a net positive that they did for attitudes towards obesity and helping people lose weight. By the way, my follow-up to that original expose was called We're All Fat Again. And it was that most of the biggest losers who had shed the weight, we're talking dropping hundreds of pounds in the span of weeks, stuff that is medically completely against all best advice. They all gained the weight back and then some.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. And ironically, if they just waited 10 years, they could have taken Ozempic and not had to go through any of that.
Right?
It's like that. There's really no reason to be 400 pounds in today's day and age. There actually is this magic shot that is for people that look like that so that they can get well on a more controlled basis, at least. But I don't, like, when I watched the series, because I knew we were going to be discussing it, I put it on this morning on my Netflix and was sort of running around doing my errands watching it. And my takeaway was some people really were hurt. Like, there was one woman who actually collapsed and had to be taken away by medevac, and she said she died and was brought back. And so it does sound like things got really out of control and they didn't always listen to the medical advice that was given. But I also was like, these people signed up for it. I'm like, reality show stars. It's like, I'm of two minds. It's like, now I'm watching all these Real Housewives sue Bravo and Andy Cohen for like making them look bad and plying them with alcohol. I'm like, you signed up to be a Real Housewife. What did you think was going to happen?
This is so fascinating because this is a thread that we're continuing to follow on the Nerve. And I've been talking to a lot of people, very smart, savvy people. And one of them said to me something I thought was so profound, and we don't talk about fame like this in the culture. This person said, it's one thing to be addicted to drugs or alcohol. It's completely something else to be addicted to fame. And what happens to a lot of these people on reality TV is their brains get rewired, and fame is as much of a dopamine hit as any kind of substance could ever be. With these people too, the people who signed up for The Biggest Loser, you're getting one bill of goods sold to you by production, and then you get behind the scenes, and it is a psychological manipulation from beginning to end. And they say to one contestant, like, you may not like these methods, and you may be collapsing and vomiting and having heart palpitations and thinking you're going to stroke out. But if you ever lost 100 pounds on your own, are you losing weight now? Well, then why don't you just stick with us? You know, and these people suffered like one woman told me she had stress fractures in her feet from what they were making them do. They were working them out like they were Navy SEALs. These are obese people who had never really worked out.
Right. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. I know. Reality TV has spun out of control time after time. And it's always the same formula. It's always exploitative. It makes me uncomfortable to watch. I'll say something nice about somebody who works for us now. You know this, but about a month or two ago, we hired Hope Hicks. And she's the COO of my company now, like the overarching company that oversees everything. And Hope Hicks is like brilliant. She's very savvy. And she also happens to be stunningly gorgeous. And unlike most people who you could say that about, has zero interest in seeing her name in print or her face on TV. You've never met somebody who is so averse to fame, to the spotlight. She just wants to do her job. She just wants to be great at whatever she does, and she does not want the spotlight. It's so rare. When you find one of these unicorns, you're like, what is it? I don't understand it. No matter, like, we're like, hey, we should announce, that you're coming on board. She's like, oh God, let's just put like a small item out there at best, at most, She's Hope Hicks. She could have had like a cover of some magazine. They'd love to talk to her about her life and so many interesting things about her. But I respect it, but you're right. Like with a civilian who's already struggling with a weight issue or whatever issue gets her on, let's say, Real Housewives, there is a drug waiting there of attention and clicks and for the dopamine hit of feeling better about yourself for 1 second as the episode airs, or you get a blog post that's favorable about you. And you have to be very centered and strong to like withstand that lure when you realize the thing I'm doing that's getting that for me is bad for me. So you're raising a good point. So what do we think the effect of the sparring between President Donald Trump and the Fed is going to be? Can the Fed take the right action at the right time? Do we trust in that? Or are we going to be looking at a potential economic slowdown as they slow roll any of their moves as they worry about his tariffs? And what exactly does all of this mean for your savings? You might want to consider diversifying right about now with gold through Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, global uncertainty, and high inflation. And Birch Gold makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold. If you have an IRA or old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or just buy some gold to keep it in your safe. First, get educated. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Just text MK to the number 989898. Again, text MK to 989898, and you'll start the process of just getting the 411 on what it means to own gold. Consider diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. So if the Fed cannot stay ahead of the curve for the country, at least you can stay ahead of the curve for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.